Well, I put out some videos on practice and trying to talk about moving between scale patterns when you're practicing instead of just running down the tired old same old stuff that from top to bottom and back. That's not going to get you nearly as far as you want to go. Now, I understand when you first learn guitar, you're learning the chords and then learning the cadence system and how to move the chords on and up. But look, when you go to your scales, don't get stuck in that trap of first position, second position, third position, fourth position for the frickin' C scale or anything like that. The scales are the scales, guys. It's basic music theory. Once you learn the notes on the guitar, or just the notes from A to G sharp, then you learn the steps for the scales. And then you can make your own scales if you want to. That'd probably be the best way to do it. But the scales are the scales. They don't change. The scales are the exact same. They just change positions depending on if you're playing A minor, playing D minor. The A minor scale here is the exact same scale on D when you're playing D minor. It's the exact same. So when I'm talking to you about combining like your major and minor scales for C major, all right, I'm going to go to C and playing C major, and I've got A minor right here. That's just, here's the C position, here's the C position. It just happens to be A minor. That's the C position. This is all it is, guys. If you learn the major and minor scale and then you learn to expand it, you've got it. And after that, when you practice, don't get caught in that trap either. Don't box yourself in. Go to the middle of look, how often do you see in music where you're playing up on the low E string? I mean, you don't learn scales to play that has nothing to do with scales. You learn scales to solo or to just throw in some, like Slash does, just to throw some stuff in. You're hardly ever going to be up here. So starting here and memorizing it from here is counterproductive. Get to the D, from the D to the high E. That's the meat of the guitar. That's where you're going to be the vast majority of your time when you're playing scales. So when you practice, this is typically how I'll do it. I'll come up with something in my head and okay, I've got the basic outline of what I want to do. So I play with that a little bit, then I'll put the guitar down. Hour or so later, or maybe even the next day, if I can still remember this stuff. It's not that easy. But the next day I'll come back and try to repeat it. I hit a wrong note and I messed it all up. I wasn't even close, right? But I hit a wrong note and that interrupts everything. I completely lose. I don't even know where I was at this point. I don't know what was going to come next. It was in my head, but as soon as I hit that wrong note, I'm lost. And that's aggravating as all hell, and it irritates me to no end, and I'll never hit that wrong note again. This is how you learn. You challenge yourself, try to get better and better, go faster and faster. After you try it a second time, put the guitar down, come back a little while later, and try to embellish on it. Just add some more onto it. See if you can't make it sound a little bit better. And then just keep going and going and going. Work on it for like a week, 2 weeks. Going between the minor and the major scale. Once you've got it to where you've got it where you want it, and it sounds good to your ears, because that just sounded all right, but I've still got a ways to go before I can make that into anything that I could actually enjoy listening to. But this is, I practiced on it earlier today. Or, well, I played earlier today. This has been stuck in my head all day for some reason. So I put it on strings, embellish it. Tomorrow, I'll do it a couple more times. So when I have a break and all my free time, I'll do it some more. And I'll keep refining this until, you know, I really don't have anything left to do with it. And then I'll play it a couple times through, just to commit it to memory. And then I'll put it to a metronome and then start speeding that metronome up a little bit and playing certain parts of it faster and faster and faster and getting it harmonized. And I didn't pick up the guitar to learn to play a scale. I picked up the guitar, same reason you did, to play some music. So play some music and make it into music. And you're not going to come up with something like that right off the bat. I mean, you're gonna do the same thing I did when I started doing this. Try and figure out which strings to hit, and you're going to be focusing on the scale and focusing on the strings so much that any music is going to be, that's down the road. But you can try and keep trying, because when you're putting them together, that's when you're learning. You're not learning your scales by doing this over and over 35 times a day. That's not learning scales, that's learning a position. Learning scales is putting them together, and then you can take that, just to show you what I'm talking about on these scales being the same thing. You can take that exact same thing and change key. That was in C major. Let's go to D major. Let's take it up a step. D major is up here. Okay? So the minor to that is B, right? See? D, B. There we go. Alright. So it's the exact same minor scale on B as it was on A. So drop it back further. You can go anywhere with it. It's the same scales. You just take your finger, put it on whichever. That's the D. So if we're playing in D major, that's where we're at with the B minor. If we're playing in C minor, okay, put your finger on C. That's the minor. There's your major. The minor finger, major finger. Yeah. So there's your major. That's all this is. Yeah, there's other places you can go. Learn learn that first, your major and minor. Connect them first. Then you can branch out. When you branch out, remember the steps to making a scale. I've posted videos on this now, and it's everywhere online. All you've got to do is look up steps for scales guitar. Whichever scale you want is published somewhere out there. They'll tell you the steps. A half step is 1 fret, a whole step is 2 frets. Unless you're changing strings. If you're going from like the E string to the A string, just to go back through this because it's really quick. A whole step is 2 frets, a half step is 1 fret, yeah? Let's get this up here. Now, when you're changing strings, if you're here and you're wanting to go a whole step forward, 2 frets forward, all that is 3 steps backwards on the next string. A half step is 4 frets because a half step is only 1 up. But if it doesn't make sense to you, just trust me on this. When you're going to the next string, whole step, half step. 3 frets back for a whole, 4 frets back for a half. You lose 1 fret on the B. So, whole step is 3 frets, half step is 2 frets. Going from the G to the B. But it's back to normal on the E. 3 frets and 4 frets. So, it's 3 for a whole, 4 for a half, subtract 1 for the B. That's all it is. Build your own scales. Throw them together. You can map out your whole damn fretboard if you got all kinds of time on your hands. This is when you go to these websites to learn guitar, it is made out to be much more difficult than it actually is because they want to teach you everything. And these people are getting paid to do this. So they're looking out to teach you everything. You're like your personal guitar tutor. I don't make this for money. So I'll just tell you how I learned it. I'm not under any obligation. Try it. See what you can come up with. What are you going to lose? Huh? Give it a shot. See how it goes. If it doesn't work for you and it sets you back, let me know how stupid I am in the comments. We can go from there.